Camera on. There you go. All right, everybody, welcome into the High Noon stream. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday. Hold on, chat room. Who's first in the chat? Let me get the chat enabled. Boom, there we go. First in the chat wins a prize. What is that prize? 3, 2, 1, and... Oh, this is just not good. Is the chat not enabled? Where is everything going on here? All right, I don't have time to think about this because we're on a press schedule today. This is, it's a Friday show. It's a big, important show because it's Friday and we're all looking forward to the weekend. It's St. Patrick's Day. We've got that going on, so we all know about that. I got to get my kid. I got to get my kid after the show. I got a whole bunch of stuff to do. I gotta go grocery shopping. I got to get an oil change, and then I got to get up. Frank is first in. Oh, April wants to know where's my green. Yeah, you know what? I didn't even think about that. I'm 100% Irish. I don't have any other ethnicity in me. I mean, look at this face. Does this face need to wear green? I don't think this face needs to wear green. We had Jimmy Ryan on last night. Jimmy Ryan from the Jagger Show, the old live 105.3 super producer, do everything boy. Handsome Jimmy Ryan, still handsome, still pretty eyes. Jimmy Ryan was on last night. Pugs and Parker is a stream that we do at 9 o'clock every Monday through Thursday evenings, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. And we've been dedicating a large portion of that stream to catching up with and reconnecting with old friends from 105.3. This is because James Parker and myself, as well as the folks at Radio Misfits, we have announced a new podcast project called Who Killed Live 105.3. It's going to be a multi-episode podcast documentary, a story really, about the rise and the fall of Dallas-Fort Worth's popular radio station that's now gone forever and totally forgotten, Live 105.3. So Jimmy Ryan was on last night. That was great. If you want to catch up with any of the old 105.3 interviews that we've done, we've talked to Jagger, we've talked to Big Dick Hunter, we talked to Kelly Moore, my former partner, we talked to Cody, who else? We talked to Sybil, we talked to Jimmy Ryan last night. If you want to catch up, anyway, we're going to be doing more. There's a whole bunch more people that we got to reconnect with. I got to talk to more Jagger people. We got to talk to some Russ Martin people. We've got to somehow figure out a way to connect with those people because I don't really know them that well. I like Dan. I mean, I've never had a problem with Dan. Dan seems like it. Dan I have professional respect for. So as far as personal feelings towards like Dan and all that, I don't really know Dan. But Dan has always been a gentleman. So, no issues there. Would like to talk to, who else do I want to talk? Well, I guess we can't talk to Chloe. That would be, that might be interesting. No, man, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to talk to Chloe. For those of you who know the story, Chloe is someone who worked with us at Live 105.3, who we all loved and we all thought was wonderful. And it turns out that he had some pretty dark shit in his closet. And he's in prison. So I don't know that we'll be talking to him about, any of what he experienced at 105.3. Do we really need that filter anyway? Do we really need his filtered view of what things were like? All right, don't want to talk about that because, as I said, it is St. Patrick's Day. And you know what I was thinking? Because this show is all about what today is. That's what this show is, folks. It runs Monday through Friday, starts at noon. And all I'm attempting to do is bring you a nice view of what this day is, whatever day it may be. If you're tuning in on June the 15th, it'll be all about June the 15th. Today is March the 17th. It's St. Patrick's Day. I love this. We can play some St. Patrick's Day music. Why not? Why not? We can't monetize this show anyway. The only way we're making any money off this show is through your tips. You'll see the banner. I leave it down there. And I think I shouldn't leave it down there. Because that makes it easier for you to tune out. If I cycle it in and out every once in a while, maybe you'll notice it. Maybe you'll be compelled to support the show. If you can, that'd be great. Cash App, Venmo, all that stuff. It all works. It all spends the same. This show is powered by you and your enthusiasm for it. Which, I have to say, I love the enthusiasm. of our loyal listeners. Love it. You guys are fantastic. You've kept us afloat for almost 2 years now. But we need more of you. That's what we need. I mean, it's, whatever. This is this song for American Irish, for the Irish in America. This is like the national anthem, right? This is like, this is like you see a drunk Irish kid coming at you on the street wearing earbuds. You know he's listening to this. Shipping off to Boston. It's part of I'll just let it play quiet in the background. Why not? Like I said, we can't monetize this show through any traditional means. You know what else we can do here right at the start of the show that I like? Here, while we listen to some Irish music, let's check in with what's going on in Ireland right now, shall we? I love this. I do this every year. Every year they've got a street cam set up in the Temple Bar district of Dublin. If you're unfamiliar, the Temple Bar district in Dublin is sort of like their bar. Well, it's their bar district. It's Dublin, right? So you would assume Dublin would have a pretty cool bar district. And they do. It's a Temple Bar. And there is a place called the Temple Bar, which is like a very, very famous bar there in Ireland. If you go to Ireland and you're in Dublin, you'll go to the Temple Bar. Your concierge at the hotel will send you there. You'll get in an Uber. And you'll be like, take me to a bar. And the Uber guy will drop you a Temple Bar because that's where the tourists want to go. Anyway, here they set up a camera out in front of the Temple Bar. No. The sound is crazy. All right, we're going to bring the sound down. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to show you what's going on right now. You know, when I was younger, when I was growing up, people were always like, you know, we celebrate St. Patrick's Day more in America than we do in Ireland. And I'm like 8 years old and I'm hearing this from people and I'm like, that's not true at all. That is not true at all. Now, maybe it was. Maybe at some point in Ireland's not so distant past, St. Patrick's Day was more of a religious holiday. I mean, St. Patrick's a big deal there. He's like their George Washington. So, you know, it was probably more of a religious thing where people went to church. But starting in like the 1970s, the Irish Board of Tourism realized that the rest of the world had been celebrating this holiday and that they needed to start doing something. So trust me, if you want to go and have a real St. Patrick's Day, go to Ireland. And don't be sold by people who are like, you know, they don't really celebrate it there. Yeah, they do. Okay, here we go. You're looking live at the Temple Bar District in Dublin, Ireland. This is it's a cam that has been static. It's been set up for, I don't know, about 12 hours now. So this is just overflow from the bars. This is just people. Let's get some sound, because there is sound, but the sound is deafening, so be careful. Are you ready? On the count of three, we're going to get sound. 1, 2, 3. All right, we're going to close that up. Watch that while we listen to some Pugs. That's right, my Irish playlist isn't a bunch of like weird songs from the 1800s. No, it's modern songs, modern Irish music, like the Pugs. Here's something I want to do with this video. I noticed this started watching last night, and there was something weird that happened. Let me see if I can show it to you. Because this is the scene right now in the Temple Bar district of Dublin, Ireland. This is what's happening on St. Patrick's Day. You see people funneling in and out of different bars. Oh my God, they're all bars. These are all, there's not a nail salon or a currency exchange or a title loan lender anywhere here. These are all bars. So that's why there's so many people. The one that is sort of at the center of the screen, that's the Temple Bar. That's like the most famous bar in Dublin. So that's the one. But here, I want to go back and show you something from very early on. Okay. So here, we're going to go back. So this is what this scene that we were just looking at, this is what it looked like last night. Okay, so this is last night before all the crazy St. Patrick's Day partying started. Now, we can do a time lapse and we can show the crowd starting to arrive, but we'll do that to an extent. But I want to show you something weird that's happening here. All right, I can't explain this. I watched this like a dozen times. All right, here we go. Here we go. Now, here's what we're looking for. We're looking for a dude pushing a guy in a wheelchair. And you're going to see it coming from the bottom of your screen. You're going to see probably two drunk guys. They're out carousing. Let's see, we'll fast forward a little bit here. You know what? I thought this might be difficult to do because of the time difference, but hold on. Where's the wheelchair? Let's see. I'll just fast forward and see. We'll get to a point where we can see the wheelchair. No, still don't see the wheelchair. No wheelchair. All right, well, whatever. Maybe I won't be able to show it to you. Some dude in a wheelchair was wheeling around some dude. So a dude was in a wheelchair getting wheeled around by another guy. And the guy that was pushing him just walked away from him in the middle of the street, like they had an argument. And the dude in the wheelchair just got out of the wheelchair and walked away, like walked into another bar, leaving the wheelchair. At this point, two more drunks came along and started joyriding in the wheelchair. I'm trying to find it for you. Come on, I know the wheelchair situation's here. It's probably not even worth it. All right, let's see. All right. I don't see the wheelchair. The left is where you'll see the wheelchair. Don't worry, we'll get into what today is. It's St. Patrick's Day, so we're doing some silly stuff. What do you got better to do today? Actually work. You could probably be working instead of just watching me try to find. Look at this. Here's another weird thing. What is that, a duck? Look at that thing just walking around in the middle of the road. What is that? No, it's just a pigeon. Never mind. Okay, where's the wheelchair guy? You know what? Maybe this stream, maybe I can't see the wheelchair guy anymore because the stream doesn't go back that far. Maybe after 12 hours. Anyway, let's go back to modern times. Anyway, no, we'll do a little time lapse. Okay, here we go. The sun is risen. Look at that guy jogging. He's Mr. Dublin healthy guy. This dude walking around in the middle of the intersection with a backpack, waiting for the bar to open. All right, so this is early. This is probably 7 in the morning. Right, let's fast forward a couple hours. Here we go. Oh, look at her. Oh, she's waiting for the bar to... No, I bet she works there. Look, she's posing for pictures? Yeah, that's what it is. She's a tourist. Never mind. All right, she's a tourist. See a number. Okay, here we go. Here come... Now the bar people are coming out. It's early morning. It's probably about 9 o'clock. I don't know if they're going to work or if they're going... Actually, it's a national holiday, so I don't think anybody works. All right, now people are coming together. What's this? Okay, all right, now a bunch of people starting to gather. These people are there early. A little bit more. Let's fast forward. Look at this. Oh, now it's just about 11 o'clock in the morning there in Ireland. And we're starting to get a little bit of street action. People are mulling about. Yeah, okay. It's noontime. People are in full St. Patrick's Day mode now. Everybody's partying. Yeah, people going in and out of the bars. All right, we'll fast forward to that. Yeah, now we got a thing going on. Now we got something happening. And here we are. Now this is live. This is what's happening live right now in Ireland. All right, there you have it. Is that enough of a St. Patrick's Day tribute? Is that enough? As we listen to the Waterboys. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you, Jennifer Hernandez. I wonder if there's a way. How do I make that small so that we can keep looking at that? No, that doesn't work. That just got rid of me altogether. How about that? That's not bad. I don't mind that. How about this one? Huck'em. There we go. That'll work. All right, very good. All right, let's say we get into what today is all about. Let's run through this high noon show so that we can get out of here and enjoy this. I don't even know what the weather's like. I haven't been outside yet today. It's sunny. It's sunny, but it's cold, right? I had the heat on early this morning because the heat wasn't on last night, and it got real cold last night. All right. Sip of coffee. So far, so good with the hiccups. No hiccups. We're very happy about that. Got to open the lid before I take a drink. That would work. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? All right, we're still watching the crowd there on the right. That's a crowd live from out in front of the Temple Bar in Dublin, Ireland. We'll keep that Earth cam up. I'm having some difficulty here. Sorry, I'm trying to fill. Is it that obvious? Is it really? All right, let's get started. It is high noon for the 17th day of March. That is, of course, St. Patrick's Day, year of our Lord, 2023. March 17th is the 76th day of the year. There are 289 more days remaining until the end of the year. What's this? What are we doing? Oh, yeah, that great Irish band Metallica. The well-known Irish band Metallica. I must admit, this is the most badass version of Whiskey in the Jar that there is. He was counting. I first produced my pistol, then produced my rapier. I said, stand down to live on. Oh, the devil, he may take ya. Whiskey in the Jar, Metallica. On this day in 1776, during the American Revolution, the British Army escapes. Not escapes. Did they escape? I'd say they evacuated. Evacuated Boston, which ended the siege of Boston. This was done after, of course, George Washington, and was it Henry Knox? Was it Washington and Knox? Didn't they plant some explosives? And I don't know, maybe that was just a movie I saw. But it was on this day in 1976, the American Revolution. The British Army evacuates Boston, ending the siege of Boston. Big deal. On this day in 1805, the Italian Republic with Napoleon as president becomes the Kingdom of Italy. Yeah. On this day in we're going to move ahead. We're going to just jump ahead. All right. By the way, did you know Napoleon was king of Italy? I didn't know that. Apparently, he made himself king of Italy. It's good to be a dictator. On this day in 1948, Belgium, France, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom signed the Treaty of Brussels. Now, the Treaty of Brussels is a big deal because essentially what the Treaty of Brussels would become is NATO. So when you're thinking about who are America's oldest friends from jump, at least as far as we view the modern world, from the dissection after World War II of the world and its powers and its worth and its all of that stuff, who was America's friends? Who's been with us from the beginning? Well, it's Belgium. It's Belgium, it's France, it's Luxembourg, it's the Netherlands, and it's our good pals, the United Kingdom. On this day in 1960, United States President Dwight David Eisenhower signed the National Security Council Directive on the Anti-Cuban Covert Action Program. Now, what is this? Why is this important? I've never heard of this. Well, you did. He signed it. It's something that he said we're going to do, and then he stopped being president. Kennedy became president, and then Kennedy got involved in the Bay of Pigs. This is the reason for the Bay of Pigs. What happened on this day in 1960? U.S. President Dwight David Eisenhower signs the National Security Council Directive on the Anti-Cuban Covert Action Program, the Bay of Pigs. In 1985, on this day, this guy, I don't want to hear any music on this one, especially not spooky Metallica music. Richard Ramirez, on this day in 1985, remember this dude? Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. He committed the first 2 murders in his Los Angeles murder spree. Richard Ramirez is freaky, man. Like, okay, so there's a lot of serial killers, and they're all J-bags, right? There are no good serial killers, is I guess what I'm trying to say. But even in that pecking order, there are ones that are just like a little, like Dahmer. You'd put Dahmer up that he ain't people, really. That like puts him up towards the top. Gacy, buried teen boys in his drywall. That gets Ed Gein, right? Made lamps and furniture out of the skins of his victims. Those people, they get But even among that class of character, I have always put Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, somewhere else. Richard Ramirez thought he was the devil. Well, not the devil. Richard Ramirez believed that he was the anti-version of Jesus. That he was, as Jesus was the Son of God sent here to, save man. Richard Ramirez fully believed that he was the Jesus of the devil, and he was here for those purposes. He's a creepy guy, man. Sean Penn, the actor Sean Penn, got thrown in a jail cell on the night that Richard Ramirez was first apprehended. And Sean Penn was they shared they weren't in the same cell, but they were separated by bars. And Sean Penn has some pretty wild Richard Ramirez stories about just, spending about 10 hours with him, the only person to talk to. Well, that's weird. Talk about wanting to be a fly on the wall. How great would it have been to be a fly on the wall or a conversation between the Night Stalker and Spicoli? That would have been fun. On this day in 1992, a referendum to end apartheid in South Africa is passed by 68.7% of the vote. All right, very good. And racism in South Africa was fixed. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about South Africa and their problems. I remember in the 80s, obviously I know about apartheid and I know about their racist political power base that basically ruled that country for 60, 70 years. But I don't know enough about the players. I mean, I don't. I know that should I have scored a record contract in the 80s, I was not going to play Sun City. I know that. But short of that, I don't really know. I don't really know much about it. But I guess that's a good thing. On this day, I guess it's a good thing. I guess it's a good thing that on this day in 1992, a referendum to end apartheid in South Africa was passed. Let's do some births. Talk about some people who were born on this day. Born on this day in 1902, Bobby Jones, American golfer and a lawyer. I guess that was back when you couldn't just be a golfer and make $1 billion. I don't know I don't know who Bobby Jones is. Here's what I know about Bobby Jones. You can't even say old heads, but I guess there are still some old heads around who would be like, Bobby Jones is the greatest golfer of all time. The dude was born in 1902. My familiarity with him. First of all, I don't know golf. I don't know a lot of people born in 1902. I know he's a name. God bless. Bobby Jones. Be well. On this day in 1910, Sonny Werblin was born. Sonny Werblin, American businessman and philanthropist. Sonny Werblin is most famous for being the eccentric owner of the New York Jets. Sonny Werblin owned the New York Jets in the Namath, the Broadway Joe days. As a matter of fact, the Broadway Joe nickname comes because Sonny Werblin, the owner of the Jets, who was all in on Joe Namath, Joe's my guy. Sonny Werblin was a Broadway producer. Sonny Werblin made his money to buy the New York Jets by producing Broadway plays and hits and musicals and all that kind of stuff. But here's a fun Sonny Werblin story. Sonny Werblin lived in this fancy apartment building in Manhattan. His next door neighbor was Johnny Carson. This was back when Johnny Carson was doing The Tonight Show from New York. Johnny Carson and Sonny Werblin became buddies, not just buddies, but drinking buddies. They both liked to get shit-faced, okay? Sonny Werblin and Johnny Carson became such good friends that Sonny Werblin went on vacation for 6 months, because that's what rich people do. He went on vacation for 6 months, and when he came back, he found that Johnny Carson had knocked down a wall that separated their two apartments and put in a door so that now you could walk privately between Johnny Carson's apartment and say, anyway, that's a fun Sonny Werblin story. Born on this day in 1910. Born on this day in 1919, Nat King Cole, American singer, pianist, and television host. I don't know much about Nat King Cole. Here's what I do know about Nat King Cole. He was my grandpa's favorite singer. I don't know, my grandpa said that to me once in 1977, and I went, okay, good to know. I'm going to store that away, and I will never forget that my grandpa says Nat King Cole's the greatest singer that ever lived. Born on this day in 1938, Rudolf Nureyev, Russian dancer and choreographer. Nureyev was one of these more elitist bullshit. Nureyev was one of these dudes that became famous in the 1970s during the Cold War because he defected. And he was a ballet dancer. Look, let's be honest. Nobody gives a shit about ballet dancers. Nobody cares about ballet. You know who cares about ballet dancers? People who go to the ballet. You know who go to the ballet? The elite. You know where the ballet is big? Places like New York. You know where the media in pontification is king? Places like New York. Do you know what happens when people who are in New York who work as columnists and news people, they get a new toy for their ballet? They talk about it. It's the only reason that we know the name Baryshnikov or Nureyev. It's the only reason that we know that there's a thing called the Tony Awards. This is not stuff that anybody is interested other than a very close-knit East Coast media group. And because they control all the power and whatever they talk about is what we hear about, suddenly, ballet dancers defecting to America in the 1970s was a big Cold War win. It's ridiculous. You know what I'd have been more into? How about one of these ballet dancers? Can they play shortstop and hit to all fields? Those are the defections that I wanted in the 1970s. I wanted some of these Cuban ball players who weren't allowed to come to them. How about less ballet, more RBIs? Paul Kantner was born on this day in 1941. Paul Kantner, I like Paul Kantner. Paul Kantner of the Jefferson Airplane. Paul Kantner, Jefferson Airplane. I think Paul Kantner's the guy who heard "We built this city. We built this city." He heard "We built this city," and then walked into the next room and quit the band. It's like, yeah, I'm not doing this. This is not Jefferson Airplane. We built this city. He's like, yeah, I'm out of the band. I'm not going to be a part. I think it was him. I think Paul Kantner was against "We Built This City." I think Mickey Hart and Grace Slick knew it was bad, but wanted to do it. They were like, whatever, man, let's just do it. And Kantner was like, nope, this will ruin us forever. And it did. I who love the Jefferson Airplane and who also loves Starship, I will never listen to a Jefferson Starship song. Because that's the band that Jefferson Starship did "We Built This City." Jefferson Airplane did "White Rabbit" and all kinds of cool stuff. Starship did, no, I like Jefferson Starship. Jefferson Airplane was "White Rabbit" and all the hippy-dippy stuff. They were cool. They were very, very prog. Then they changed their name in the 70s to Jefferson Starship because they wanted to be more modern. And that band was cool. That band had Jane. Anyway, I don't want to go down there. And then Jefferson Starship dropped the Jefferson and just went with Starship and released "We Built This City." That's when I'm out. But happy birthday to you, Paul Kantner. Born on this day in 1942, someone we already name-checked here on this very show, John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown, Pogo. Pogo, the killer clown, John Wayne Gacy. Born on this day. I was there when they executed him. That was one of my first radio jobs. My earliest radio gigs, my earliest radio coverages. I don't know, earliest times I was on the radio. Both of them have to do with serial killers. One was the execution of John Wayne Gacy at Stateville. I covered that. And then the other one was Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment in Milwaukee. I had to go up to that. I looked around and walked around that apartment building. Yikes. Anyway, that's weird. So happy birthday, John Wayne Gacy. Born on this day in 1944, one of the fabulous babes of all time. You want to talk about a muse. There are very few women that can probably walk around with the label of bona fide muse. This lady can. Patty Boyd. Patty Boyd, born on this day in 1944. We talk about Patty Boyd because I find her endlessly fascinating. Patty Boyd is a woman who inspired not one number one hit, but 3 number one hit timeless songs are written about Patty Boyd. Patty Boyd is, of course, the woman George Harrison is singing about in the song Something. Something in the way she moves. There's that, okay? Then Patty Boyd is the woman that Eric Clapton is singing about in "You Look Wonderful Tonight." Yeah, all right? So she's got Something written about her and Wonderful Tonight. What woman wouldn't be like, yeah, those 2 timeless love songs, they're written about me. I'm the muse. I'm the Aphrodite figure that these 2 powerful, wealthy, talented men are pining over. Yeah, so she had those two. But then Eric Clapton was like, wait, I got more. And of course, Pattie Boyd, the birthday girl born on this day in 1944, she had a nickname that everybody called her. She wasn't known among her group of friends as Patty. She was known among her group of friends as Layla. That's right. And Eric Clapton then wrote the song, Layla, you got me on my knees, Layla. Look at that. How crazy. How crazy. Pattie Boyd, man, got to give it up for her. She must have been a thing. She must have been. Born on this day in 1944, umbilical cousins with Pattie Boyd. John Sebastian. John Sebastian was born on this day. Now, who's John Sebastian? Well, John Sebastian was the lead singer of a 60s pop band called The Lovin' Spoonful. They had a bunch of hits. But John Sebastian is probably best known, at least to me, as the Welcome Back. Yeah, the Welcome Back Kotter guy. The guy who sang Welcome Back Kotter. The dreams always flickered out. Welcome back. That same old place that you laughed about. That guy. That's John Sebastian celebrating a birthday today. John Sebastian. Oh, also, fun fact about John Sebastian. In the movie Animal House, John Sebastian is the hippie guitar player on the steps at the frat party when John Belushi's Bluto comes down, listens to him singing, I gave my love a cherry that had no stone. Remember he's singing that song? And then Belushi's Bluto looks at him, grabs the guitar, and just destroys the guitar. That's John Sebastian. That's the birthday boy. Born on this day in 1949, Patrick Duffy. Oh, my goodness, Patrick Duffy. He's Bobby Ewing. We like him up in these parts, North Texas. He ain't from here, but he may as well be. He's a prince of North Texas. Bobby Ewing, Patrick Duffy, celebrating a birthday today. Born on this day in 1951. Now, I always jokingly pretend that I get him confused with Patrick Swayze and with Dennis Quaid, but I don't. I know who Kurt Russell is. It's Kurt Russell's birthday. Of course I know who Kurt Russell is. I know who Kurt... It's true. It's true. I think Patrick Swayze, Kurt Russell, and Dennis Quaid are basically the same actor. I think that you can, a few idiosyncratic differences, but they're basically the same guy. If you want a Kurt Russell type and Kurt Russell's not available, you cast Dennis Quaid. Right? That was the rule back in 1986. And maybe a Patrick Swayze. Say he doesn't fit quite in as well as Dennis Quaid and Kurt Russell, but whatever, you get it. Kurt Russell draft! Oh! Are you kidding me? Kurt Russell almost played pro baseball. He was a child star. He's one of the biggest child stars in Hollywood. Then went on, he stopped acting, decided he was going to play pro baseball, got injured, couldn't play pro baseball anymore, went back to the acting and became Kurt Russell. Yeah, we're doing a draft. Celebrity drafts are where we take a look at the output, the creation of a celebrity, be it a director, a writer, an actor, whatever it is, a songwriter, and we like to put their body of work under the microscope and figure out what is, in my opinion, once again, these are my opinions, what is, in my opinion, the best works. And we do it in the form of an NFL draft, where we take the best one first, and then we go down. It's a 5-round draft. Let us begin with the Kurt Russell draft. Here we go. With the first pick in the Kurt Russell draft, the Pugs and Company show will be taking... By the way, these are movies, but also some TV. He didn't do much TV, but it's mostly movie. It's really just performances. Snake Plissken! That's right, off the board first. Escape from New York. Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken. Unbelievable. With the second pick in the Kurt Russell draft, we're taking Miracle. That's right, we're taking Miracle. Kurt Russell's portrayal of Herb Brooks, the head coach of the 1980 United States gold medal Olympic hockey team. Miracle comes off the board second. Here's one that had to come. It could have been one. But I went with it as 3. Ladies and gentlemen, Tombstone. That's right. Tombstone. Kurt Russell played Wyatt Earp. God, I love Tombstone. How about this one? Let's go back to Kurt Russell in the late 70s, 78, 79. I don't know how I saw this movie so much as a child. It very well may be a terrible movie, but it seems like it was one of the earliest available movies on VHS, so I watched it a whole bunch of times. And that movie is Kurt Russell's comedy from 1978, Used Cars. Used Cars, ladies and gentlemen. 4th round draft pick in the Kurt Russell draft. Used cars. All right. And with the final pick, and this is difficult, I got Adam yelling, dude, the thing, right? And look, dude, look. His body of work is immense. We got to draw the line somewhere. I love the thing. But the 5th pick and the final draft pick in the Kurt Russell draft will be backdraft. That's right, backdraft. Right, he played the grizzled firefighter. That was awesome. So there you have it. There's the 5 off the board in the Kurt Russell draft. Number 1, Escape from New York. Number 2, Miracle. Number 3, Tombstone. Number 4, Used Cars. Number 5, Backdraft. But we are absolutely inviting some people to camp as undrafted free agents. That's right. We've got some Kurt Russell properties that we're going to take a look-see at. First of all, we're going to bring in Breakdown, ladies and gentlemen. You remember Breakdown? Breakdown with JT Walsh, Kurt Russell and his girlfriend. They were driving on a desert road, and crazy JT Walsh, the trucker, starts stalking them for like 500 miles. Oh, my God. Breakdown gets a camp invite. Hateful Eight. I love Hateful Eight. One of the most underrated Quentin Tarantino movies. Of course, Kurt Russell. Hateful Eight gets a camp invite. Also, Kurt Russell gets a camp invite for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Another Quentin Tarantino film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where he played the stunt coordinator who had a problem with Brad Pitt's Cliff Booth character. They couldn't work together. It was very tense. Also getting a camp invite, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. How about this one? There's no way I cannot mention this. In the mid-'70s, there was a TV miniseries about Elvis Presley. And guess who played Elvis Presley? Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell, to this day, in my humble opinion, turned in the greatest Elvis Presley performance of all time. And yeah, I admit, Austin Butler was great. But Kurt Russell's Elvis in that TV movie, way better. By the way, funniest Elvis portrayal in a film, Don Johnson. Don Johnson in the film Elvis and the Beauty Queen. TV movie from the late 70s. Don Johnson, hysterical as Elvis. Didn't even try to be Elvis. He was just Don Johnson. Kurt Russell became Elvis. All right, also getting a camp invite in the Kurt Russell draft. We did Elvis, the TV movie. How about Forrest Gump? That's right. He was in Forrest Gump. Who did Kurt Russell play in Forrest Gump? Elvis! He played Elvis in Forrest Gump. Why? Because Robert Zemeckis and Tom Hanks remembered how amazing Kurt Russell was in his portrayal of Elvis Presley. And they cast him as Elvis Presley in Forrest Gump. Also, the computer wore tennis shoes. I want to throw a little something back to like young Kurt Russell when he was doing Disney films. The computer wore tennis shoes. I believe it's Fred McMurray. Is it Fred McMurray? And I think it's Fred McMurray. Anyway, a delightful early 15-year-old Kurt Russell movie from Disney back in the 60s. So we're going to let that come in. Now we're just going to run through some stuff, okay? Because we're getting a lot of camp invites here for Kurt Russell. We're going to invite Escape from LA, the sequel to my number 1 draft pick, Escape from New York. Of course, it's like when you draft somebody high, like with the number 1 overall pick, and then in like you give their little brother a camp invite. That's what this is. That's it. Escape from LA is nowhere near as good as Escape from New York, but it's still fun, and it's still Snake Plissken. So what can go wrong? Tequila Sunrise is getting a camp invite. Tango and Cash is getting a camp invite. Overboard is getting a camp invite. Big Trouble in Little China is getting a camp invite. A little something for Adam Moreno. The Thing is getting a camp invite. But also, Swing Shift is getting a camp invite. Silkwood is getting a camp invite. The Best of Times is getting a camp invite. That concludes our Kurt Russell draft. Did you know I didn't know that Kurt Russell had so many movies that I enjoyed. But it stands to reason because he would have been at his most prolific in the 1980s when I was seeing the most movies. You know, when I was a teenager or a kid. So that would make sense. Born on this day in 1955, Gary Sinise. Forrest Gump. Lieutenant Dan, Gary Sinise. Gary Sinise didn't really do much else, right? You know, like Gary Sinise, we thought like after Forrest Gump, we're like, oh, who's this new actor? He's going to be a big star. And then he kind of didn't really become a big star. Born on this day in 1964, ladies and gentlemen, happy birthday. One of my favorite people. Well, I don't know that. Wait, have I ever met him? I never met him. One of my favorite people. Everything he does, I like. Everything he does, I like. Every podcast interview, he does all the podcasts. Every podcast interview I've ever heard him on, I've liked him. I've been like, God, this guy is cool. Happy birthday, Rob Lowe. That's right, Rob Lowe. Oh, going all the way back to he's a Brat Packer. He goes all the way back to the 80s Gen X Brat Pack stuff. Now, on a normal day, we would do a Rob Lowe draft. But honestly, I was looking at it and I was going, we should do a Rob Lowe draft. But then I'm also like, we just did a Kurt Russell draft. And the Kurt Russell draft was pretty big. So should we really do a Rob Lowe draft? And I came down on the side of no. But I will simply say this. Looking through Rob Lowe's filmography, it's a pick 'em. They're all good. They're all good. They're all. He's good in everything. He's good. Rob Lowe. You want to hate him because he's good looking. You want to hate him because he seems like he's smart. You want to hate him because he's talented. But then they wrap all of that shit together with Rob Lowe, and it turns out he seems like a pretty nice guy on top of all of it. He's got like some serious Paul Rudd vibes to him. Born on this day in 1967. How about Billy Corgan? That's right. Smashing Pumpkins. Billy Corgan, born on this day in 67. Born on this day in 75, Natalie Z. Natalie Z. I love Natalie Z. You don't know who Natalie Z is. I love Natalie Z. Natalie Z has appeared. I don't even know who she is. Like, she's for all I know, Natalie Z has been in two shows that I love. She's she's not the star, but she's like a co-star on Justified, which I am rifling through. I'm re-binging Justified. She plays Winona. She plays Winona Givens. She plays Timothy Oliphant's Raylan Givens' ex-wife. She's beautiful. And then she was on a show called The Detour, which is a comedy show. And let me tell you, she's hysterical in The Detour. If you ever get an opportunity to see The Detour, it's can't think of the guy. Who's the dude? Jason Jones. It's Jason Jones and Natalie Z, and it's basically like American Lampoon's Vacation. It's about a family who is going on a road trip, and the entire series is this road trip. It's called The Detour, because obviously their road trip doesn't play out. It's like 4 seasons. They did like 4 seasons of this show. It's really good. The Detour. It's hysterically funny. Natalie Z, happy birthday to her. Born on this day in 79, Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels. Porn star. Entangled with the former president of the United States. Look, we don't do politics on the show. We don't do stupid, divisive politics. But if we did do stupid, divisive politics, and we covered such stories, Stormy Daniels might get a birthday present today. All we're saying is that the Manhattan attorney's office, U.S. attorneys in Manhattan, they're not above a Friday news dump, and it seems like something is brewing with that whole investigation as it concerns Stormy Daniels. So, it is her birthday. Maybe they're going to drop a little something for her. Who knows? Also, born on this day in 1990, Holzer, Irish singer, songwriter, and musician. Remember Holzer, like 7-8 years ago? He had a hit, and Rolling Stone proclaimed him the next great thing. And then we never heard from him again. I don't know. Did we hear from him again? Or am I just... Because it's quite possible that I'm just out of the loop. Just seems like all I heard about was Holzer. And then I don't hear nothing about him no more. How about some deaths? Let's run through some deaths very quickly. Some people we lost on this day. On this day in 1965, we lost Amos Alonzo Stagg. Arguably, here's the thing about Amos Alonzo Stagg. He's heralded as one of the greatest football coaches of all time. Of course, he was a football coach when there were only 15 football coaches in history. So it's like, of the 15, you are the... I mean, I don't know how Amos Alonzo Stagg stacks up against a Bill Belichick or a Bill Walsh. I don't know. We'd have to see. Let's see here. Dead on this day in 1993, Helen Hayes. She was an old lady who did a lot of movies, and she's been in everything. Dead on this day in 1997. Oh, this is a shock. I didn't know about this. 1997, Jermaine Stewart died. American singer, songwriter, backup dancer. Jermaine Stewart. Who's Jermaine Stewart? You're like, who's Jermaine Stewart? Jermaine Stewart had like one hit song. It is a banger. It's like a great one. It's the only reason I know who he is. Jermaine Stewart did that song, that 90s song. You don't have to take your clothes off to have a good time. No, we could dance and party all night and drinking cherry wine. I don't know, something like that. Jermaine Stewart. Jermaine Stewart died. I didn't know he was dead. Dead on this day in 1997. Dead on this day in 2002, Sylvester, better known as Pat Weaver. Pat Weaver died. Who is Pat Weaver? I don't know who Pat Weaver is. Pat Weaver is one of the most important people in the history of American broadcast television. Pat Weaver basically invented the primetime schedule. He invented how television is laid out to us. Pat Weaver was a television executive. He ran, excuse me, did he run NBC? I think it was NBC, but then it was other. Anyway, Pat Weaver had a little girl, and he named her Sigourney. Yeah. Pat Weaver is Sigourney Weaver's dad. Pat Weaver died on this day in 2002. Dead on this day in 2010, a guy who honestly I thought died like in the 80s, but, I guess he didn't. He died in 2010. Alex Chilton, American singer, songwriter, guitarist, and producer. Alex Chilton was in were they a Memphis band? Were they from Memphis? Big Star. Big Star was a band. You know the expression, will you stop trying to make that happen? You know that expression? That's what Big Star was in the 70s. Rock critics and all that, they tried to make Big Star happen so desperately, and they never did. I think Big Star's got like one song that you might know, and it might even be classified as a one-hit wonder. But Big Star was supposed to be a great band. Alex Chilton was their leader. Alex Chilton was also in the Box Tops before he left the Box Tops to form Big Star. You know the Box Tops? Give me a ticket for an aeroplane. Ain't got time to take a fast train. Lonely days are gone. My baby, she sent me a letter. That was him. That was Alex Chilton. Alex Chilton with the Box Tops. And then he forms Big Star, and they don't happen, but everybody's like, when are you going to happen? And he's like, I don't know. For my generation, for Gen X, Paul Westerberg of The Replacements was a massive Alex Chilton fan, and he wrote the famous Replacements song, Alex Chilton. It's funny, the song Alex Chilton by The Replacements is probably better known than the actual guy, Alex Chilton, who it was written about. I thought The Replacements wrote the song Alex Chilton about a dead guy. That's how twisted I am on this. But no, Alex Chilton died in 2010. He was alive when the song named after him, Alex Chilton, was like a big alt-rock hit. All right, there you have it. Those are your deaths. Stagg, Amos Alonzo Stagg, Helen Hayes, Jermaine Stewart, Pat Weaver, and Alex Chilton. Should we get back? Let's check back in on the live stream, huh? What do you say? Let's see what's going on down there in Ireland right now. This is a live stream shot from the Temple Bar District on this St. Patrick's Day. This street is going to be like this, well, forever. It's going to be, and then they're going to, bring the street sweeping equipment down, and it's gonna. When these people leave, where do you see the mess? The mess is gonna be crazy. I'll go back and check out the mess. All right, let's get into all the things that are trending today. Aside from the fact that, wait, can we do this? Wait, let's do this. Nope. Let's do this. Nope. Let's do that. Hold on. How do we do that? There we go. Okay. We'll check back in on the old Temple Bar thing. Wait, can we do that? Can we check back in? Yeah, we can. Look at that. All right, we'll check back in from time to time. Okay, so we got some big breaking news that was going off just before we signed on here. It's probably something that people know more about now. As I've been talking now for the last hour, I'm sure it's developed more. But apparently, there has been an arrest warrant issued for Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin, the leader of Russia, and this is a big deal. This is a very big thing. And, well, I don't know whether or not it's a big thing, really, that's a construct, right? I mean, nothing could happen. Absolutely nothing. This should be, on paper, this should be a very big thing that the whole world goes, okay. So, here, I'll read it to you so that there's no confusion. An arrest warrant has been issued for Vladimir Putin by the International Criminal Court. I mean, these are the people, The Hague, these are the people that hang people. These are the people that put the Nazis on trial after World War II. These are the people, this is the World Court. These are the people that put dictators to death should they feel so compelled. They've never done it before. They don't do it. The World Court doesn't indict African strongmen for slaughtering entire tribes. They don't do that. This is not a thing that they do. They have indicted today and issued an arrest warrant for the leader of Russia. The court said in a statement that Vladimir Putin is allegedly responsible for the war crimes of unlawful deportation of children and that of the unlawful transfer of a population of children from an occupied area. So basically what they're coming after him for is, and this is a story that had been reported, we don't talk a lot about the Ukraine war, but one of the ways, this is a terrible thing. One of the ways that there's a lot of psychological warfare going on here because this war has been pretty much a stalemate. It hasn't gone the way that Russians thought. So one of the things that Russian troops are doing is they are basically kicking down doors in houses and stealing the children of Ukrainian people, putting those children on buses and sending them back to Russia. They are basically stealing the children of the people as a mental mind fuck as to, you better stop fighting us. You better stop coming. So this has been reported. Look, there's look, I don't know, does that get reported more than the mass graves that they're finding? You know, where they're just lining up civilians and executing them? I mean, there are a shit ton of really awful, dark things that hey guys, it's why they call it war. You know, I mean, war isn't something sanitized and clean that we can watch on TV and then turn off when it gets to be too much. No, war for the people who are experiencing it are, you know, they're going through something that I don't think you or I or some of us, some of you in the chat room, some of you may have served, some of you have been in war zones, some of you may actually know. So I shouldn't say that you don't. But man, an arrest warrant has been issued by the International Criminal Court. Ukraine's presidential advisor for children's rights, Daria Herashemechuk, last month reported that almost 14,000 Ukrainian children have been abducted by Russian troops. Think about that. I mean, all right, you know, you're just running a fucking chicken farm, you right, on the outskirts of Gagankink, you know, someplace in like rural Ukraine, and all of a sudden you see like another government's military pull up in your driveway. It's like, holy shit, I'm a Ukrainian citizen. These are Russians in my driveway, and they kick in your door and just take your kids. And as they're taking your kids, they're like, let that be a lesson to you to not stand up again. I mean, my God, there is some ugly shit going on. So anyway, the warrant is a very real thing. Russia has responded by saying that the warrant should be used as toilet paper. Of course they have. Dmitry Medvedev, deputy chairman of the Security Council of Russia and former president and prime minister of Russia, said the International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant against Vladimir Putin. No need to explain where this paper should be used. And then he put a toilet paper emoji because that's how important global issues are now discussed. With emojis. Moscow had previously said that it does not recognize the jurisdiction of the ICC and denied allegations of war crimes during the invasion. Okay, very good for you. So what does this mean? Well, it severely limits where Vladimir Putin can travel. Vladimir Putin can't just travel anywhere now. He can't just show up like he can go to China. They won't enforce the ICC there. He's probably okay there. He might be able to go to like, I don't know where he could go. It would be dangerous for him. I mean, because there's an arrest warrant for him, and they arrest people with arrest warrants. I can't imagine they're going to arrest him. Essentially, how I would see this playing out is there's an arrest warrant. The war is going to go. If Putin loses the war and this is the end of the Putin regime, then he'll be arrested. You know, but again, as I said to start this should be a very big deal. On paper, this is a very big deal, but that's just a construct. Nothing might happen. Absolutely nothing might happen. Well, we've got an arrest warrant. We need to arrest him. You going to arrest him? Nope. I mean, see, that's a very real possibility because we live in a world where anything that we thought is the way it's supposed to go down, actually doesn't if one of the people involved in the go down doesn't want it to. People get, my whole life growing up, it's like, if you get a congressional subpoena, you have to go. Fucking mob bosses in the 60s showed up for congressional subpoenas. Mob bosses, murderers. And then we learned in the last couple of years that if you get a congressional subpoena, you can just say, no, I'm not going to go. That flies against everything that I've ever known to be the way this system works. No, you can't say no to a congressional subpoena. Well, what do you mean you can't say no? I just said no. I said no. Well, but now bad stuff is going to happen. Okay, I'm waiting for the bad stuff to happen. Nothing happens. Nothing. The realization is is that some people are truly above the law. Some people they don't apply to. And in this case, with the International Criminal Court issuing an arrest warrant for Vladimir Putin, we're going to see an example of somebody who's above the law. Above agreed upon global laws, above their own laws, above whatever. All right, well, now we're listening to what? What do we got going on here in our music, our Irish music? Got some zombies going here. Cranberries. Yeah, I don't. The music's getting annoying to me, actually. Banks are trending. We're going to run through these quick because you don't come here for any kind of banking updates, but bad shit's happening. Banks have borrowed $164.8 billion from the Fed. They're all trying to. And by the way, this should also be pointed out. The Fed is loaning money to banks. The Fed is dishing out money to banks because of the current climate. Bad things might happen. Now, I ask you this. Do you think that banks that are doing just fine are taking the Fed money? Yeah, they are. Of course they are. They don't need it, but since everybody thinks it anyway and they're handing out government money, why not just take it? Banks borrow $164.8 billion from the Fed in rush to backstop their own liquidity. The problem here is a lot of these banks don't need it. They're going to take it anyway, though. Banks borrowed a combined $164.8 billion from two Federal Reserve backstop facilities in the most recent week, a sign of escalating funding strains in the aftermath of Silicon Valley's bank failure. All right, there you go. Yeah, they're all going to take their money. Janet Yellen, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, is also trending because of the banking and the money. And like I said, folks, nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit when gas goes up 20 cents. Nobody gives a shit when, the price of eggs becomes that of a steak, right? Nobody gives a shit. Because people who are rich, that doesn't bother them. They don't care how much eggs cost. If they want eggs, they're going to eat a dozen eggs, regardless of price. But like I said, now it's hitting them. Now it's hitting the rich people. Now the rich people in the banking system is starting to teeter on all their bullshit and all their lies. And it was fine when it was just us who was being taken advantage of. Oh, they'll fix it now. Janet Yellen is on the case, the Secretary of the Treasury. Let's see here. Under questioning, Janet Yellen admitted that not all depositors will be protected. Oh, okay, so basically, here's what Janet Yellen has done. And I say that, my tone, I'm suspicious, I'm skeptical, but I don't know. I don't know if this is the right thing to do or not. Who the fuck am I? I'm a guy who's streaming at noon. These are very complicated issues. But I'm just so sketchy on all of these people. So, remember the problem with Silicon Valley Bank was that a lot of the people who had their money in those banks were billionaires and rich people, super rich people, a lot of money. And when the bank collapsed, the FDIC stepped in and went, "Don't worry, we got you. The FDIC is designed to help." Well, we know that the FDIC insures up to $250,000. So if you've got more than $250,000 in Silicon Valley Bank, the FDIC ain't going to cover your whole nut. You're going to get up to the $250,000. So too bad. If you had $3 billion in that bank, the government's going to give you a check for $250,000 and say, "Happy to help." But that's not what happened. That's not what happened with Silicon Valley Bank. See, Silicon Valley Bank went down first. The FDIC stepped in. The FDIC got rid of the $250,000 limit for the Silicon Valley Bank, and the government is ensuring the wealth of all of the people who invest. Now, what Yellen is saying today, which is why she's trending, because she was questioned about that, she said that the FDIC will continue to step in to help struggling banks. And then somebody asked her, what about the $250,000 limit? Because you kind of threw that away when dealing with the SVB, with the Silicon Valley Bank. What about that? Are now future banks that may fail, are they also able to just toss out that $250,000 insured depositor limit? She said no. She said no. That was a one-off. Why? Why was Silicon Valley Bank a one-off, but should your local bank where your money is, why does your bank not get? Because rich people. Because it was rich people who had their money in the Silicon Valley Bank. And it was rich people who are affected by the $250,000 FDIC insured limit. And so in this case, because it was rich people, they got rid of that. But I promise you, if you have $300,000 in the bank and your bank collapses, the government's going to give you a check for $250,000 and say, lump it for that extra 50. Sorry. And you're going to be like, but you bailed out the other guys in California. Those guys had $5 million and you were supposed to stop at $250,000 and you gave them their whole $5 million. Because they're rich people. Because rich people, when they get together, they have power. Money has power, and they make all the rules. This idea that you got to follow the rules, you got to be a law-abiding citizen, again, that's a construct. We all just follow it because we think we're supposed to. Meanwhile, outlaws have all the fun, all the money, and get all the best women. What's that? What's that a line from? That's a line. Oh, it's a line from Broadcast News. That's right. That's a line from Broadcast News. All right. Pence. Mike Pence is trending. Mike Pence is trending. And again, we don't do politics here, but this is kind of funny because Mike Pence is breaking bad on his old boss. Mike Pence is going around now. He's doing all of these speeches because, I don't know, Pence, this guy thinks he can be president. I don't know who the hell's going to vote for Mike Pence. First of all, there ain't nobody on the left or whatever going to vote for Mike Pence. He's that guy. He's Pence. He's Trump. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Not vote for him. There ain't nobody in MAGA that's ever going to vote for Mike Pence. They were going to kill him. Who is this guy running for exactly? Anyway, he's running. Well, I'll tell you why he's running. I've told you this before because remember, running for president's a scam. Running for president allows you to take in all kinds of money. You can raise $100 million in your war chest to run for president, and then you can quit. You can say, you know what? I changed my mind. I got all this $100 million. I appreciate you people donating to my campaign, but I'm not going to run for president. I'm going to quit. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take that money and I'm going to put it in a PAC because I'm legally allowed to take the money that I raised with no intention of actually serving. I don't have any intentions. I'm just going to run so that I can raise the money. So then I'm going to start a political action committee where I'm going to use that money to support other people who are running for president, people who can actually win. I'm going to use the money that you all gave me for me to be president, and I'm going to use that money to just, support issues that are important to us. So, all good, all good. Oh, and by the way, I will be appointing myself as the executor and the chairman of that political action committee, and I'll be paying myself $4 million a year. And that's how it goes. That's how you get paid running for president. That's why Marianne Williamson is running for president, raising money with no prayer in hell of winning. That's why Mike Pence is running around pretending like he's going to be a president of the United States. Nah, this is all a scam. Pence is out there, though. He's like leaning into the whole, hey, man, I guess it's okay to make fun of Trump now, right? That's like his vibe. Pence made some comments about Trump's role in the January 6th Capitol riot, and they received some press, but he also took a swipe at Trump's claims to be a Christian, because, that's Pence's whole thing. Pence's whole thing is that I'm the real Christian. And he might be. He and Mother have Bible study and all that, so good for him. Good for him. If he has found that as his way to get through life, and quite frankly, who am I to judge the way Mike Pence has lived his life? The man was a vice president of the United States. He did something right. I'm streaming to 19 people in the middle of the day. Apparently, I'm in no position to criticize Mike Pence's life choices. So he's got the Jesus thing going. Pence said about Trump and Christianity, I once invited President Trump to Bible study, Pence said in his speech. He really liked the passages about the smiting and the perishing of thine enemies. And then he puts it to me, he says, Mike, there's some really good stuff in there. And the room broke out in laughter. I don't know, is that Christian humor? I didn't get it. I don't know. Pence also referenced the recent classified documents scandal that are enveloping Trump. Pence said it's proof that he never reads his Bible. And he says that because, here's a quote now from Mike Pence, I read that some of those classified documents they found at Mar-a-Lago were actually stuck in the president's Bible, which proves he had absolutely no idea they were there. Oh, Pence is just slaying the room. I don't get it. Raise that money, Pence. Raise that money. And then run your PAC. And then buy yourself a new private jet. Whatever it is you're going to do. It's all a game. Get yourself on Fox News. At what point does Pence drop out and back DeSantis, and then Pence becomes like a super surrogate for DeSantis? That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Let's see, what else do we have here? France France. France is going nuts. They're losing their shit in France. Yeah, I told you the story the other day about how Macron, the president of France there, he wants to raise the, what do they call it? The retirement age. Want to raise the retirement age in France. What do you think? Here in the United States, it used to be 65. Now I think it's 70, right? Didn't they raise it? And we didn't even do nothing about it. We were just like, yeah, whatever. I can work 5 more years. Not a problem. In France, they want to raise the retirement age from 62. 62 is the retirement age in France. Oh my God. I know 62-year-old people who are in no way, shape, or form even thinking about retiring. 62. They want to raise it from 62 to 64. And the people in France are losing their shit. They are rioting in the streets. Nobody wants 2 years, just 2 years. Here in America, they raised it 5 and basically didn't even tell us. Actually, I don't know. Is that law yet, the raising to 70, or are we still just talking about it? My point is nobody seems all that bummed out about raising 65 to 70, the retirement age in America. But anyway, that's happening in France. So, you want to keep an eye on that. Rolls-Royce made a big announcement. That's right. Rolls-Royce has announced that they are building a nuclear reactor on the moon. Look at that. Rolls-Royce. Now, we all know Rolls-Royce as fancy car people, right? Rolls-Royce, they make fancy cars, but they don't. Rolls-Royce is a much bigger British entity than just, fancy cars. They made bomber engines. They made planes in World War II. Rolls-Royce, big. They do all kinds of tech and stuff. They're a pretty important company over there. So they're going to build a nuclear reactor on the moon. UK, the United Kingdom, backs Rolls-Royce project to build a nuclear reactor on the moon. Nuclear power has the potential to dramatically increase the duration of future lunar missions and their scientific value, the UK Space Agency says. Rolls-Royce has been working on a micro-reactor program to develop technology that will provide power needed for humans to live and work on the moon. The UK Space Agency will now provide $2.9 million, around $3.52 million of funding for the project. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking a project that right now is just theory, a project where you're going to have to R&D the shit out of this. You got to get a space program. UK can't launch nobody into space, can they? Does UK have rockets? UK doesn't have. Anyway, whole lot of moving parts in this thing. I don't think the English government giving $2.9 million is going to get them across the finish line. I don't think that's... But anyway, sounds like a cool idea. Put a nuclear reactor up there, power the moon. What could go wrong? What else do we have here? This is kind of interesting. This is fun. Okay, so, you know what else is interesting about this? A couple of nights ago, we were talking about, I think it was on Pugs and Parker. I'm not sure. It might have been during High Noon. But Donald Glover came up. Donald Glover, of course, the... What is he? What do you say Donald Glover is? He's not a comedian. He is a comedian. He's a very successful stand-up comedian, but he's not a comedian. Is he an actor? Yeah, a very successful actor. Oh my God, he's got look at his IMDb page. He's got just 50 things in development. A writer? Yeah, good writer, great writer. Musician? Major hip-hop star. Major cultural influence in hip-hop. I don't know what Donald Glover is. He's everything. He is like a superstar that I don't know that we've ever seen somebody this prolific in this many different areas before. Now, we were talking about that the other day, and somebody in our chat room was like, he's like mid-range successful for a guy that used to be on Community. And somebody said that. I don't remember who said that in the chat room, but I remember thinking, oh my God, dude, you are telling on yourself. Do you realize that most people don't even know that Donald Glover was on a situation comedy? There are people out there who are like, what? No, he wasn't. So when all you know him from is that means that you're really not up on, cutting edge art, culture, provocateurs, musical provocateurs, comedic provocateurs. He's incredible. Anyway, I felt bad for the guy. I saw him and I was like, my man. You think Donald Glover is just some character he played 15 years ago on a NBC situation. You haven't been following what he's been doing? Dude is one of the most powerful people in Hollywood, unquestioned. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. He's like 30 years old. Actually, I don't know how old he is. But he's like a young man, and he's already got FU money and cachet to burn in Hollywood. He can do literally whatever he wants. Whatever. So I took exception to the classification of him as he's doing all right for a guy that used to be on Community. Really? All right. Anyway, Donald Glover is trending today because apparently he's got another new show. He's executive producer and show running. It's a new show on Prime. It's called Swarm. Now, I was unfamiliar with this. I'm a big fan of Atlanta. His show Atlanta is one of the greatest television shows ever. I'm still a season behind on Atlanta. That is such a great show. So funny, so crazy. Anything can happen. It like exists in reality, but also it's like a fantasy element to it. It's crazy great. It's crazy great. It's so creative and so interesting. Atlanta. So I love that show. I didn't know about Swarm. Apparently Swarm is a new show that he's got on Amazon Prime, and it debuted last night. And the Twittersphere went nuts for it. Apparently they're all liking it. Swarm is the story of fandom. It's the story of stalkers. It's a show about, I don't know what it's about. I haven't seen it yet. But I have seen something that I think is really interesting, and this was burning up Twitter last night. He cast a bunch of really interesting people, like Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish is, I guess, has a fairly prominent role in this new Donald Glover show. And Donald Glover's not in it. Donald Glover's just the creator. He's gone Quincy Jones at this point. He's like, above it all. Just he created it, and now he's just letting everybody else play in the sandbox that he built. But here's an interesting casting thing that I wanted to show you. So this is a scene from Swarm, okay? That I guess the entire series is now available on. It's not like they're not going to make you wait a week for the next episode. I think you can watch the whole thing. Okay, let me see if I can get this. There we are. Yeah. So I want to show you this scene from last night's Swarm. Now, I guess all you need for context on this scene is to know that these are two stalker-level fans, okay, of a musical artist, and they've met at a diner, and they are talking about their love and admiration for these people that they are. Again, I haven't seen the show yet, but I'm just going off what I've learned. So, this actress that he cast in this role is Paris Jackson. It's Michael Jackson's daughter. And he has Michael Jackson's daughter saying some really interesting lines. It's a clip that was burning up the internet last night. We'll watch this. This is Paris Jackson on the new Donald Glover Amazon Prime series about being an out-of-control fan called Swarm.
I mean, I ran away from my last relationship because he couldn't accept me being black.
You're black?
Yeah. My dad's half.
Half what? Black?
Half what? Black? That's funny. That's quirky casting. Yeah, Paris Jackson, huh? Look at Paris Jackson. Paris Jackson is beautiful. But I know she looked like a little bit wigged out there. She had crazy hair and all that kind of stuff. But oh my God, have you seen Paris Jackson on a red carpet? Is Paris Jackson biologically Michael Jackson? Because here's why I asked. I was looking at a picture. There were pictures going around earlier today of the red carpet from, was it the Oscars? I think it was the Oscars. Or maybe it was some other award show. It's award season. But there was a picture going around, and it was on the red carpet, and it was Paris Jackson, the daughter of Michael Jackson, standing arm in arm with Riley Keough, the granddaughter of Elvis Presley. And I'm looking at these two, and I'm like, my God. First of all, they're both gorgeous. And I started to think, I'm like, is this a legit cool picture? Like, is Paris Jackson any DNA? Is there any Michael Jackson DNA in Paris Jackson? I don't know. Anyway, Paris Jackson, Donald Glover's trending for his new show, Swarm. Swarm is the name of the new show on Prime. Legally Rude. Legally Rude is trending because apparently it is legal to be rude. Residents' right to be rude has been upheld by the Massachusetts Supreme Court. So here's what this all comes from. These crazy community board meetings that we've been seeing in these school boards, and people being people being so classless, so unsophisticated, so over the top, people being idiot. Well, they're mad. Okay, whatever. You can still present yourself with a degree of decorum, is all I'm saying. We are a civilized society. We are not at the let's burn it all down, because if that's what you're about, you're going to jail, because the rest of us don't want to burn it all down. We're okay. We're making it. We just need everybody pulling in the same direction. So people have been assholes at these community meetings. And in the state of Massachusetts, one town said that you would not be allowed to attend one of these community meetings if you were deemed rude. Can't be rude. Can't be rude. So one lady who was definitely rude, she decided that she was going to have freedom, liberty in America. And so she took it all the way to the courts. And guess what? The Supreme Court in Massachusetts, the Massachusetts State Supreme Court has struck down this town, Worcester, I think it's the town of Worcester, has struck down this town's rule that you can't be rude at city council meetings. The Supreme Court of Massachusetts has now said, yeah, no, you can. You can be rude. We cannot sort of regulate the way people articulate their dissatisfaction with the government, is essentially what the judge said. And I agree with him. I absolutely agree with him. Because who's the arbiter of rude? Who's going to be the person that's going to decide that that was too far or that was rude? There isn't a hard and fast flow chart that we can consult when someone is being rude. Did he cross the line on being rude? I don't know. Was he rude or not? Yeah, it's speculative. It's way too... But be nice. But I do actually agree with the law. I do agree that you can't have... Look, being rude, why? Because you got yelled at by the people who voted you into office? You got to take that. That's part of getting voted. So let me get this straight. You, as an authority figure in a local government, you want to make it not allowable for people in your area to criticize you, even though you're an elected official, and because any criticism of the way you're doing things would be deemed rude. Right? That's what we're going after. So this is a good thing. This is a good thing that the Massachusetts Supreme Court said, no, you know what? You guys just got to take it. I know it's unfortunate that people don't know how to behave, but we can't start allowing local governments to make laws about how people are allowed to push back on their rulings. That is not America. That is not how it works. Excuse me. Look at me just coughing it up over here. The Cure is trending. Why is The Cure trending? The Cure is trending with Ticketmaster because, I hate Ticketmaster. How is Ticketmaster allowed to be a thing? How is there just one ticket? There's other ways you could get to... Nah, I know, but let's be honest. There seems to be a monopoly in the ticket game, and it's Ticketmaster, and they've been doing bullshit stuff like hidden charges and how much are the tickets? I can remember being like 17 trying to, with your quarters, stacking quarters so you could change them into dollars so that you can go and wait outside the Sears store all night so that you can get those tickets to see Bon Jovi 6 months from now or whatever it was that we were doing in the 1980s. And I remember you'd get the money. It's like, okay, the tickets are $21. Tickets are $21. And then you'd get there and it's like tickets were $40. Well, there's a $10 handling fee and there's this. That's some bullshit, man. I am waiting. Handling fee? What are you talking about? I slept in a parking lot all night so I could be here when the box office would open so that I could get tickets the minute they went on sale because it's 1987 and the internet hasn't been invented yet and this is how we do things now. And you're telling me you're going to tack on $10? For what? I'm here. I came to the box office. There is no handling fee. I slept in a parking lot. You're charging me. It was such bullshit. So The Cure announced their new U.S. tour, and the tickets went on sale, and there was some bullshit being done by their fees. Okay, so The Cure said, you know what? These fees are absolute bullshit. The Cure has a fan base, like a fan group that they allow, to get first crack at tickets and all that stuff. The Cure, as it turns out, has a very well thought out strategy on how to circumvent the prosperity of scalpers. They don't want scalpers. So they've created this group, of people who are diehard Cure fans, and if they really want the good tickets, they can get them first, and all you got to do is sign up online and all that stuff. So the Cure has done all this stuff. Those people that they encouraged to buy tickets that way, the people in the Cure fan base, they went and they bought their tickets through Ticketmaster and then learned that Ticketmaster was doubling the ticket price. And the people who are in this special Cure group, they're like, what the fuck are we in a special group for if they're going to charge us? The tickets are $20. People were getting charged $45 for tickets. Here's why. Are you ready? This is what Ticketmaster is doing to the price of tickets. The ticketing platform's website, offers some, albeit vague, breakdowns of why the ticket prices are more than what the bands are asking. Face value price. Okay, so these are some terms you need to know about tickets. Face value price. That's the base ticket price. It's determined by the clients and is remitted to the clients. So that's what it costs per ticket to come see this band. It says it right there, $20. But then there's a service fee. The service fee is a convenience charge that is levied for the ticket. Okay, I can almost accept a convenience fee. That's fine, because this is more convenient than me in 1987 sleeping in a Sears parking lot, trying to get tickets when the store opens or they go on sale at 9 a.m., whatever. I'll pay a service fee. But what about an order processing fee? So there is a service fee and an order processing fee with Ticketmaster. The order processing fee is a transaction charge levied once per order, which offsets the cost of ticket handling, shipping, and support. It typically is not tacked on to the in-person box office sales. Typically, it's not. So a charge that they add on for delivering the tickets to you is typically, not always, typically not applied when you don't do any of that. So there's, typically when you go to the box office and just buy the tickets there, we won't charge you the upcharge. Typically. But sometimes we will. Delivery fees. Here you go. Vary from event to event and according to mode of delivery. Mobile tickets, will call, pickup, print at home, U.S. mail, or UPS. Okay, these are the different kinds of delivery fees that you can get. The UPS delivery fee may not reflect the actual cost UPS charges Ticketmaster to deliver tickets via UPS. So Ticketmaster is upcharging you on the UPS. So Ticketmaster is using UPS, but they're using it at a more expensive rate than if you just paid UPS to bring the tickets to you. Why? Because you're paying it and UPS gets what they normally charge, and then all the extra goes back to Ticketmaster. A little something extra for Ticketmaster. Facility charge. Oh, there's a charge for the facility. Out of wear and tear on this place. You can't expect it to just... What the fuck did you build this facility for? You built this facility on the idea that you could sell seats to people, they would pay their money, and then, I don't know, you would pay for the facility. But no, now there's an additional facility charge with Ticketmaster. Additional fees decided by clients, which typically helps them operate and invest back in the venues themselves. That's not my problem. If I'm going to see the Doobie Brothers at some shed this summer, I don't need to concern myself with how the lawn gets cut for the next band that's playing. It's not my concern. I wanted to see this band. You offered this band here. I said how much. You sold me a ticket. And now I'm paying for the upgrade. Now I'm paying for landscaping maintenance on this place. This place has been here for 30 years. It's bullshit. Anyway, The Cure won. The Cure pushed back. I mean, this all took place over the course of the last week since the announcement of The Cure's tour. The Cure went to Ticketmaster and said, you know what, you guys, fuck you. This is not cool. I can't believe you're doing this. So Ticketmaster is not to everybody, just the people who are in The Cure's special little group. The Cure fan club who took advantage of the fan club offer to buy tickets first. Those people are getting, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? $5 back. $5 back. The average overcharge was twice the ticket price. So if you bought a $20 ticket, and The Cure is intentionally trying to keep these tickets low. So if you bought a $20 ticket, you paid $41.50. But that's okay, because Ticketmaster feels bad. They're going to give you $5 back. So you've only paid. I mean, come on. See, this is how they do it. Oh, you caught us. We're sorry. Hey, we're going to do the right thing. I know we overcharged you about $20, but we're going to give you 5 of that back. What about the extra 15? Oh, that's profit, my man. That's how we make profit. How do you think I got 2 jets? I mean, seriously. So thank you to The Cure for fighting back, even though it's a bit of a hollow victory. Ticketmaster, that's some bullshit. That whole situation they got, that is some bullshit. Remember back in the day, there used to be multiple. We had Ticketron. Ticketron. You go to Ticketron or you go to Ticketmaster. What is this event? Is this event a Ticketron event or is this a Ticketmaster event? Ticketron. I think Ticketron was Sears, right? Wasn't that Sears? Didn't Sears have their own sort of concert ticket company at some point, Ticketron? Anyway, explains why it went out of business. Everything Sears related seems to be out of business, including the Tower in Chicago. All right, what else do we got here? Most polite states. You can tell we're running out of content on today's show. Let's see, what are the most polite states? Actually, it's not even most polite states. It's politest by searches by state. Okay, so the most polite word that is searched in Texas is excuse me. A lot of people in Texas say excuse me. I'm from Illinois, so I'm going to check on Illinois. It's please. It's excuse me in Texas. It's please in Illinois. What else do we got here? What else? Terms of endearment by state. What do we call our loved ones? Okay, here in Texas, it says that we call our loved ones most frequently darling. Darling. Here in Texas, come on over here, darling. That sounds right. That sounds right to me. In Illinois, where I'm from, the term of endearment is love. I push back on that. I'm from Illinois. I've never heard anyone say, come here, love. I've heard, come here, honey. Come here, sweetie. Hey, babe, come here. I've never heard, come here, love. This is some bullshit. So we're done. We're not going to do any more of it. I'm not going to. There's a whole bunch more. I'm not. I reject that one. And so we're done. We're done with it. All right, let's jump on over. Let's jump on over to, what do we got here? What do we got here? Let's jump on over to the Twitter trends to see what's been happening. St. Patrick's Day is still trending. Should we go check out the Earth Cam? Should we see what's happening? Why not? Boom. There we go. Let's check out the Earth Cam. All right, we're looking live at the Temple Bar District there in Dublin, Ireland. Setting. Oh, look at these. See a bunch of drunk people. Yeah, I just said at the start of the show today, more was going up. The popular belief was that, well, they don't even do St. Patrick's Day in Ireland, which was just a lie. That's some old guy I heard say once, and I committed it to memory, and I just went through my life thinking, they don't even celebrate St. Patrick's Day in Ireland. Yeah, they do. They do. It's like the whole identity now. It's the entire national brand of the country. Yeah, they celebrate St. Patrick's Day as we look live here at a picture of the Temple Bar District in Dublin, Ireland. Ah, good times, good times. All right, we can end it. So that's it, guys. That's it. We're done. That's going to be it for today. Keep your, I like to say, make sure that you are liking, make sure that you are subscribing, make sure that you are following, because should any big-time news type things occur, I will jump in with live news coverage, because that's what we do. That's what I'd like to do that. And if you're following, if you're subscribing or something like that, then, you'll get a heads up, I guess. I feel like the show has totally ran out of gas. So, it's St. Patrick's Day. It's St. Patrick's night. So, I gotta go food shopping. I have no food in this house. I gotta go food shopping, and I gotta get an oil change. I'm so mad that I gotta get an oil change. Listen to this, you guys. Listen to this. So, I very rarely drive my car. If I do drive my car, I'll put it to you this way. I have a car that I believe is a 2018. I think it's a 2018. It's a 2018 car, and it only has 40,000 miles on it. So, I mean, it's like really low miles. I have, in the past year, as it turns out, well, actually, in the past 10 months, as it turns out, I have driven less than 4,000 miles, than 3,000 miles. So here's my conundrum. I got an oil change like last April. And they put the little sticker on your car and it says, you need another oil change at this mileage. Well, I'm 1,000 miles away from the mileage that it says that I need an oil change. I've not even gone 3,000 miles since my last oil change. And yet I'm getting these things that say you have 0 oil in your car. And I'm like, what? I go, what does that mean? I have no idea. So I'm wondering if these updates that we get, like saying that you have 0% oil in your car, if these updates are just timed, like they're like, well, it's been a year since the oil was changed. I'm sure I don't know. Because according to the amount of miles that I have driven, I don't need an oil change yet. But the car is saying I do. So I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it because the car is beautiful. It's in perfect shape. It's low miles. You shine it up. It looks great. So I'm going to get it. But man, oh, and here's the other thing. I'm not rolling around in some fancy Mercedes. I drive a Chevy Malibu. Why do whenever I take it to get an oil change, why does the I guess the Chevy Malibu's not entry level, but you know what I mean? Why does just a middle working class all-American vehicle, why when you pull that into a quick car, are they like, well, you need the most expensive oil change? This isn't a fucking Ferrari. What do you mean I need the most expensive? Well, you're using 100% synthetic oil. Doesn't everybody use synthetic oil? Why are you even offering a $19.99 oil change with real oil? Does anybody use real oil anymore? So I'm angry. So as you can say, I got some things I got to deal with now. And I'm not going to be that guy. I vent here. So when I'm talking to the oil change guy, I'm not going to use that tone. I'm going to be very cool. I'm going to be, yeah, whatever, man, I get it. But man, I don't understand. All right, hold on, Jeff. Jeff says, put synthetic oil in it. Well, it's only ever had synthetic oil. So put synthetic oil in it. You can run 10,000 miles between oil changes. Don't listen to those oil life sensors. Ross Rubio, you don't need to change oil. That's a scam. Adam drives for Uber. Adam says you should get one at least every 6 months. But what if you don't drive? Like, let's just say you get an oil change and then the car sits in the garage for 6 months. You should go get another oil change. Or let's just say, in my case, between, oil changes, you put on like 500 miles. Do you still just need to get an oil change? Because I was under the impression that the synthetic nature of the oil means that it doesn't break down, which means I shouldn't need new oil. I don't know. Let me tell you, I like what I'm hearing out of Jeff Ballard and Ross Rubio, but I'm still going to get an oil change just because why not? Because why not? Feel better, won't have to worry about it. I don't need these things to worry about. Best is yet to come. Oh, did I mention tip the show, support the show, do whatever you can, help out the show. We appreciate it. Thank you. Venmo, Cash App, all that stuff. We'll see you on Monday. Unless something big happens this weekend, then I'll jump in. Bye, everybody. Love ya. I just pulled it up. $89 for an oil change on a 2018 Chevy. $89. That's before taxes.
can smile a little now. Things are going good. I always had to be on guard. That is
$89.
Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest.
You know what? Here, this one. Let me show this one. This one I like. Jennifer Hernandez says the updates are timed. Can you just check your oil at your house? Yeah, I did. And I've got oil in there. I did the oil check thing, and I'm like, well, this seems fine. It wasn't goopy, you know, like sometimes, you know, oil goes bad and it's like goopy and all that. No, it's like it seems fine. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Best practices. It's been a year. I can look. I'm not driving a lot. It's time to put some oil. I'm fine with it.
On a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending.
Adam Rado, where are you seeing 65? where are you seeing 65? That might be worth driving to. 65. I'll take it. I will.
Quest.